scatter plots and trend lines. First, we have to know what a scatter plot is. It's a graph that relates two different sets of data by displaying them as ordered pairs. And these are usually not in a straight line. So we have something with a positive correlation. So a graph like this could be how old you are compared to your height. As you get older, you typically get taller. So that would have a positive correlation, meaning the older you get, the taller that you get. A negative correlation, the y tends to decrease as the x increases. So I would say how old a car is compared to how much money it costs. As a car gets older and older, the amount of money people will pay for it will decrease typically. And then we have no correlation, where there's really nothing that the two things have in common. So this could be how old you are and your birthday. Your birthday doesn't really matter for the actual day that you were born and how old you are. Because I could say I was 58, and no, I am not that age, and saying my birthday is June 5th, and that's really not correlating with anybody else who is 58 years old. So these problems all have to deal with two sets of data. So in this example, we have plane altitude and outside temperature. So my x would be my altitude, and my y would be my outside temperature. So the first thing you should do is always make a scatter plot. So down below is my scattered plot that I made. And what is the correlation? So it's looking as, this looks like it's going down as x increases, so this would be a negative correlation. And then I'm going to explain this in words. So I would say as my altitude, as my altitude decreases or increases, so as my x gets larger, my temperature decreases. So really what this is saying, if you're in a plane and then the higher and higher you get up in the air, the colder and colder it's going to be outside of the plane. So our next definition is a trend line. It's a line on a scatter plot that you draw near points that shows a correlation. And we usually use this trend line to find the equation and then use it to predict something. So like if I had a positive, if I look at this picture, this is a positive correlation because as x increases, so does y. You want to try to draw your line so that it's kind of in the middle of all the points. So this is kind of in the middle of all the points. And my second one, this would be a negative correlation because as x increases, y decreases. And again, you want to try to draw it so it's in the middle. We're not going to be doing a lot of drawing the lines ourselves because when you do that, you could get so many different answers for a different equation. But this could be a type of problem that I would give you. So I would already give you the graph. So making a scatter plot of the data, and my question is, what is the approximate weight? So I already gave this graph, and I want you to write an equation for this trend line, so that blue line. So how am I going to do this? So we've done this many times before. I don't have a b there, so I'm going to find my slope. So when I'm looking at this, you should look at two corners. So I'm going to use this point right here, and I'm going to use this point right here. And it's very important to know what you are counted by. So I'm going to do my rise over run, but it's important to know that if I look at my rise, I'm counting by 6 each time. So this would be 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. So I have a rise of 30. And then I look at my run. I have a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each box is worth 1 for my run. So now my slope is equal to 30 over 6, and I can simplify that. So 30 divided by 6 is equal to 5. And then I'm going to use my point slope form. So I'm going to use this point that I already have on my graph. And this point would be 2, 6. So y minus y1 is 6 is equal to my slope, x minus x1, and I'm going to solve for y. So that's my equation, y equals 5x minus 4. Now I have to solve for my missing information. Well, if I look at my original problem again, it's saying a weight of a 7-month-old panda. So that's age. So if if I look here, that's going to be my x coordinate. So it's saying if x is equal to 7, what is y? I need to figure out what the weight is about. So I'm going to use my trend line equation because I use my trend line to help me predict information. So I don't have my y, but I know if x is equal to 7, what is y? So 7 times 5 is 35 minus 4 would be 31. And since this is talking about two different things, I will have to have a units here. So it would be 31 pounds because my y is pounds. And that is all for tonight, folks. Have a wonderful evening. Submit your Google form. See you next time.